Hey guys, here we go into a video on Sergey Kovalev versus Anthony Yarde, and what's going to be, to be honest, a pretty fun fight, I think. I think that Yarde has some skills and has some talent that Kovalev hasn't had to overcome before, and it might give us like an interesting look at the fight, and some interesting things to see. Because one thing that we saw with Kovalev's fights against Andre Ward is that I don't want to say he's not good on the inside because I think he was winning the first fight on the inside. He was smashing him, to be honest. But he's not as good, right? It's not that he's not good. It's that there's room for competition there, right? And like I talked about in my last video, when you lose a fight, you're usually going to lose doing something that your opponent is good at that you're not, right? And that's why people say fight your fight, right? You want to get them to play your game, right? If you have a really, really good overhand right and you want to throw that overhand right, like timing the jab, right? We'll say timing the jab is your skill because that's relevant for this film study. That's what Kovalev does. That's how you want to fight all your fights. You want all of your fights being fought over your opponent's jab. You take away their jab, and now once their jab is gone, you start laying in them with the right hand, right? And that's what Kovalev looks to do, and that's why he looks to have all his fights be fought that way. That's why he fights the way that he does, so that he can keep the fight at that range or at that tempo or with that style, right? He wants you using your jab against him so he can knock you out. So let's go ahead and get into the fight and see how that idea is going to play with Anthony Yarde. So first off, round 1 minute in, the first thing that I don't like about Anthony Yarde, he's doing some good things here, right? But he's not making his opponent think, right? Look at how he's transferring his weight, right? Very good control of his body, right? Comes forward, weight on his front foot as he walks forward, weight on his back foot, weight on his front foot as he goes forward. But look what happens as soon as his opponent times him on that front foot. He sticks out his lead hand, right? Now, normally this is not a bad thing, right? You want to control your opponent, right? So your opponent shoots that shot at you, and you're like, oh no! So you look to control your opponent, right? You want to make him think about your jab. You want to make him think about something so he doesn't throw that right hand over the top. And if you make him think you're about to jab him in the face, maybe you can stop him in his tracks. Unfortunately, that's what Kovalev's entire game is about, is feinting you, getting you to expose your chin by putting your lead hand out there, either by controlling the space like Yarde is doing here, or by using a full-blown punch, right? Using your jab as a punch to, punch him in the face, like Shabransky tried to do. Shabransky tried to do that to Kovalev many, many, many times with his jab and got pummeled because he was able to time that and basically bait that shot, using probes. So go ahead and getting back into Yarde. Again, the next thing to notice, there's no layers to his attack here. He has shot some jabs before, but as he steps forward, he looks to utilize stepping forward to signify that he's attacking his opponent, right? So he's hoping that taking a step forward is going to be the layer that he needs for his attack. Without using any other feints or any other probes with his right hand first, right? If you're a fighter yourself and you want to set up the left hook here, right? So what he's hoping is that he's got that very Mayweather-esque style where he's used enough jabs already that his opponent is catching the jab and now he can go around the glove. You can't really see if it's working just because of the positioning. It does look like it actually does work. You can see his glove right there. So it does look like he lands that left hook. But the important thing to notice is that he feels comfortable shooting that shot based off of attacks that he's shot previously, right? Now, this is not the greatest style. It's not like real-time problem solving, right? You're using the information that you've had from your past engagements to set it up. So it's not like a probe. It's like a kind of like a, it's, how would I qualify this? Like, it's a good feint. It's a good feint. It's a good strategy. It's solid, right? But it's not going to work against someone as seasoned, I don't think, as Kovalev. I think that you really want to be getting Kovalev out of position, especially because when Kovalev looks to get away from your shots, he usually just takes a step back and he'll control you or counter. But the biggest problem with it in this particular case, right, is you want to look at what problems you're solving that your opponent has that your opponent gives you, not just thinking about what you do well, but solving those problems. And one of the problems with this technique, say he feints here, right? And look at where you can see the little bit of flash on Yarde's face, on the right side of his face, that punch would have been caught by his opponent, right? Boom, you see it. But his glove gets there first, right? So what does that tell you? That tells you that if Kovalev is timing Yarde on that same timing, also Shabransky steps with his punches as well. So if you see Yarde stepping here and throwing that hook, he's going to be open. Not only is he going to be open for the jab, when he shoots the jab, stepping like this, he's going to be open for the right hand over the top. But he's also going to be open for the right hand over the top when he shoots this left hook as well. So unfortunately for Yarde, this strategy doesn't solve any of the problems that he's going to have using his jab to set up his offense. In fact, it only makes Kovalev's straight right hand even more of a liability for him. So I don't expect this to be where Yarde goes, and if he does go there, he's going to get knocked out. That's just a bad strategy. But the more important idea here is that Yarde is not using real-time problem-solving skills to set up his offense here, right? You know, as he comes forward, as we saw earlier, right? Shuffling forward, right? Giving different looks, kind of, you know, very low amount of active guard here as he comes forward. But now he's just hopping forward. Look at how he shuffles forward. Do not ever do this in a fight, you guys. These people who do this, there's a reason you don't see a lot of people doing this. Because these people always get knocked out, okay? This is why Mikey Garcia has so much success in his fights, is because he fights people who does stuff like this. So when they step forward, and Mikey has like a pretty active guard when he fights right-handed fighters, when they shuffle forward, as soon as they're about to take this step right here, they're not in position to throw any punches. And Mikey Garcia just blasts you with the right hands, right? And that's what happens to fighters who move forward, who shuffle forward like that. That's why you don't see it happen a lot, because as they're moving up the pro ranks, these are the fighters that get weeded out by higher level competition. They just get dominated. So don't ever move forward like this, you guys. Don't ever shuffle forward. Move forward like this, like Yarde is showing here, right? Boom, boom. So you can stay in position to transfer your weight and be in a position to offend or defend yourself. Offend your opponent or defend yourself as you move forward. Anyway, getting back into the film study. I know this is a little long. Again, important when his opponent feints him, right, or shoots a jab, look at Yarde's instinct, okay? Now, he's doing two things here, right, that are going to be very good for Kovalev. Number one, when he goes to catch the jab, right, look at where his shoulder is, right? He's completely turned into that right hand, right? Boom. So if his opponent were to throw a 1-2 here, he could catch him right over the shoulder of that jab. And again, that's because Yarde looks to control the space. He's like, oh, I'm freaking out. Don't throw punches at me, bro. I'm scared, okay? This is how he reacts to that jab. He's like, oh, I'm in danger. Let me do something to mitigate the danger. Here it is. And on a surface level, it's fine. It's fine. But if he doesn't have as active of a guard as his opponent, right, or the ability to transition his weight or make decisions at the same pace as his opponent, which he will not have against Kovalev. Kovalev is much faster and shoots that 1-2 much quicker. He's going to get walked into this shot, it appears, all the time. 1-2, boom, over the top. 1-2, boom, over the top, right? And again, when Yarde comes forward, shuffling forward, when he uses these feints, even when he is feinting here, right, feint to get him to catch the jab and then go around the guard. But again, Kovalev likes to shoot the right hand right here. And this is where Yarde shows that he's only had, 10 amateur fights and 17 pro fights, that he's not taking this position seriously from his opponent. And he's very wide open for that shot. And this is going to be a big problem for him against Kovalev, you guys. Anyway, we have a lot of film to cover, so I'm going to keep going forward. But again, not really layering his attack, right? Layering his defense very well, right? Shoots the jab. Now he's in this position. The right hand might come over and he ducks under, so he might be able to do that. But the problem with that is when you're ducking like this, if you're not transitioning your weight all the way to your back foot, you're only moving in line with the right hand. And again, that's Kovalev's biggest weapon. So far, everything that Yarde is doing in this fight, even with having his hands down like this, right? Having his weight on his back foot, that's why his shoulders are turned this way, because all his weight is on his back foot. But even though And again, when he shoots the jab, right, he's open for the 1-2 or the right hand over the top. And you can see that his opponent is able to time him here, even though he's getting caught with that shot. Great short punches from Yarde. But again, everything so far in Yarde's craft right here is putting him into seems like a bad position for him to be getting away from the right hand. And again, controlling the space with his lead hand, again, very bad, right? When his opponent attacks him, right? So controlling the space, now these are different ideas, right? If you do this when your opponent attacks you, right, that's reactive. That means that your opponent is the one that has control of you, right? So you're kind of starting that little mini game of control between you and your opponent, or looking to control them during your opponent's opportunity of controlling you, right? So if you think about it like a subset, because your opponent is initiating it, he's the one that's technically in control, even though you're trying to control him at the level he's trying to control you, right? Whereas if you're naturally feinting, probing, giving different looks, you can have full control, like an overarching control over your opponent. But again, Yarde's showing that his tendency is to use his lead hand to control the space, and this is going to open him up to a lot of right hands against Kovalev. And again, coming forward, when his opponent comes forward, using the jab to shuffle forward. So this is very similar to what Kovalev does here, right? Very, very similar. Kovalev likes to shoot the 1-2-1, boom, shuffle forward, 2, and then shuffle forward, 1. And as you can see, it looks like a technique that might be very effective against Yarde, as Yarde gets away from this hook, and then the right hand would come over the top of this jab. So Yarde doing the right thing here, right, with his weight transitions, right? Turns away from the hook, transferring his weight to his left foot, his lead foot, and then he uses this hook to transfer his weight back to his right foot, right? So in theory, he's doing the right thing, but unfortunately, this strategy is going to line up very poorly for him when his opponent is feinting him into these weight transitions. Now, what makes Yarde very dangerous, you guys, very dangerous, is the shortness of his punches. Now, this is one of the most critical steps or critical ideas for throwing punches and having power in your shots, is that you want to turn first, right? Look at Yarde's body, how all of his weight turns before he releases the punch, right? All he's doing is turning his body weight into the shot and then turning the shot over, right? And turning the shot over just means releasing it from your guarded position and crashing it into your opponent's face. Don't think about your punch as a thrust, by the way, guys. You're not propelling your punch straight into a target, right? You're using proper body mechanics to drive your punch through an arc of motion that is very common and consistent for your body, right? I don't know if that made any sense, but just kind of think about it a little bit. But again, going from this position, rotating in, the punch never leaves his chin until he's done rotating, boom, and then he crashes the punch into his opponent's face. But this is a very, very short shot, and this is a range at which Yarde may be able to take advantage of Kovalev, because Kovalev throws, he doesn't have very good hooks, you know, he doesn't transfer his weight to his back leg very well. He fights off the front foot so much so that when he throws his hook, it kind of, I don't want to say it's slapping, you know, but he doesn't rotate his weight back to his back leg to drive all the way through the shot, which you can see Yarde clearly doing from here. His weight is on his back leg here, right? And he drives forward all the way into his front foot to get the snap and the rotation in this shot. But again, it all starts with that turning of his body first, right? You're not just driving through with your foot. You're turning your upper body too, rotating your shoulders, and then he's turning his shot over, right? And again, I'll have some more in-depth training videos on this. On the training videos, guys, give me about 2 months, okay? 2 months, and I'm gonna have something really special for you guys. Really, really, really cool. But anyway, again, that is a range right here where if he can get the defense right, or even just taking the right hand from Kovalev, don't try that at home, guys. This is a range that he might be very successful against Kovalev, because Kovalev, again, he's not the greatest at that mid-range. You know, he doesn't transfer his weight as well from that range. He looks to have much longer utilize his weight transitions from a much longer distance. And I'll talk a little bit about that when we start doing the film study. But again, turn all his weight into the shot before he releases. I know the film is kind of crappy quality, right? But again, turn his weight and then release the shot, right? His hand never gets away from himself. There's never a point in which he's relying on momentum to drive his fist into his opponent's face. He's not swinging, right? He's throwing his punch, right? Anyway, again, leaning on that front foot here, feinted, right? And then easily walked into a 1-2 right here. And I think that that's going to be a big problem for Anthony Yarde. But we have a lot of film to cover. Sorry, I know it's already 15 minutes. Let's get into it. Again, the 1-2, right? Boom. Countering with the jab. Again, you can see he looks, this is a habit of his. Control the space, and he's open for the right hand there. And I think that Kovalev is going to be able to find that right hand all night long. Again, boom, boom. You know, again, even though his hand is up here, he's moving to he's bending down at the waist. I think this is going to be a big problem for him. And we'll see when we get to the film of Kovalev why it's such a big problem. But again, as you see, this guy, I can't remember his name. No disrespect, bro. I think that for starting boxing at 30, you're a phenomenal fighter. And you're doing fantastic. You should be proud of yourself. But I can't remember your name. But as you can see, he comes forward, feints him with the double jab, and Yarde automatically just ducks and moves away from the shot by ducking down. Rather than changing head slots, rather than pivoting, rather than transferring his weight and getting off the line, he just eats the right hand. And we all know what happens when you eat right hands from Kovalev. And again, walked into these right hands. Not the greatest defense, right? Now, this is basically right here how I expect the fight between him and Kovalev to go. I expect Anthony Yarde to be looking to do the right thing, right? See how he tries to catch him with the hook on the jab. So that shows that Anthony Yarde, because he's not utilizing an active guard, he's not feinting and probing, and because he's so new in his career, amateurs like to do the right thing, right? Right? Like, think about this idea, like, well, I don't want to make it too complicated. I don't want to get into, like, philosophy or anything. But the idea here is that Anthony Yarde thinks that all he has to do is make the right moves every time. And that's the level of boxing that he's looking to implore on his opponents, right? I'll just wait for them to make a mistake. Every time you transition your weight, you attack, you're putting yourself out of position, right? So you shoot a jab, now you're out of position. Out of position just means that the available weight transfers and the available opportunities you have to perform different techniques, rolls, slips, or other punches is compromised. You no longer have a full access of your toolkit available to you because of this weight transfer, right? So say you throw a right hand, right? Now your weight is on your left leg. You have half of the weight transitions that you have available to your entire body are blocked off now. You cannot transfer your weight to your left leg anymore. It's already there, right? So that idea is what compromises these high-level fighters, especially these high-level amateurs, right? Like Ramirez Ribisi or Ribisi Ramirez. He thinks that he can get away with just doing everything the right way. But unfortunately, when you fight people who are professionals and who have gone through the ranks of the amateurs, they've already beaten all the people that are worse than them at that ABC boxing, of all the people that are doing the right thing every time. They're already at the cream of the crop of people who can determine which move is the most accurate, which one is the best to do at this position when you're fighting on the line with their opponent. They've already fought all of those people. Now the professional ranks weed out the people that are good at that can adjust to fighting other people who are good at doing that. Right? And Anthony Yarde, that's why I don't think he has an opportunity to win this fight against Kovalev, because he's going to be looking to do the right thing, right? Boom, boom. But he's going to be walked into a lot of punches by the real professional Kovalev, and that's going to be a big problem for him. Wait, why is there so much film? Actually, I think I have this video in there twice. There's not actually that much film. But because I was like, man, I think this is the end of my little spiel about Anthony Yarde. But again, fighting on the inside there. Now, what does Yarde do well? Again, this is what Yarde does well. Short weight transitions right here. This is just beautiful boxing, you guys. So he comes in, again, shooting the right hand, great, right? If he can do this and add this into a feint, right, and maybe bait shots coming back from his opponent so he can open them up, this is a way better way to go about getting your offense out than just waiting for your opponent, right? That's not what you want to do. You don't want to wait for your opponent. You want to tell your opponent what to do. Make them do it, and then make them pay for listening to you. You're not their friend, right? So anyway, shooting the jab, right? And then this beautiful counter, right? Now, again, doing the right thing. His opponent makes a mistake, stays on the line, gets caught with this right uppercut. Beautiful weight transitions from Yarde, right? Boom, his weight back to his back leg, his head on that back leg, and then his weight all the way to his front leg as he crashes that hand into his opponent's face. Beautiful. But again, when you're watching Yarde at his best, he's reactive, right? He's not being a proactive fighter. He's reacting to his opponent, and this is going to be a big problem against Kovalev. Again, great overhand, great pull counter right here. Again, Kovalev is not somebody that you want to be pull countering. We all remember the first fight with Andre Ward when Andre Ward tried to pull counter him, and Kovalev read him like a book and then slammed that right hand into his face. He just said, "Here you go, bro, eat this," and dropped him. So we know that the pull counter is not the most effective against Kovalev already. But again, Yarde just hurt this guy. He landed a great uppercut, and here we have Yarde being reactive again before he looks to set up his shots. Again, not utilizing feints and probes and high-level boxing to set up his offense, even when his opponent is hurt. Now we're going to get into Kovalev, the master. One of the best offensive fighters of our generation, you guys. He's very, very underrated. I really don't think that people, because of the losses to Andre Ward, people will never really understand how good he is. The first fight, obviously, well, I don't want to talk about the scorecards, and I don't want to talk about, all of the, little intricacies of that fight and the rematch, because there's a lot of weird stuff, But Kovalev is a master, you guys. This guy is just a brilliant fighter. And let's kind of take a look at why. So, first off, Kovalev likes to feint. Feinting, and then Alvarez, off that feint, says, "Oh, you like to fight." Not only is he fighting off the front foot, right? All his weight's on his front foot. But as he steps, right? Now as he steps again, Alvarez looks to time him, right? Boom. And now you can see that Kovalev has seen this timing before. He knows that people like to time that step on that front foot because, again, this is not his first rodeo. And again, remember what I talked about earlier about transitioning your weight as you move forward? Don't ever shuffle forward. Elidier Alvarez right there. If Elidier Alvarez was fighting Anthony Yarde and Anthony Yarde pulled that shuffle trick, when he shuffled forward right there, if that was a shuffle, he would get knocked out. Alvarez would destroy him. And again, those fighters usually get weeded out after they fight like a really good amateur, someone that has timing or someone that understands that flaw very well. But it's very common. But getting back into it, now, again, what we wanted to watch from Yarde is how he sets up his offense. And what we learned about his offense is that it's very reactive, right? He's looking to make the best move based on what your move is, right? So getting you to go first. Right? And as we see from Kovalev is like, okay, I'll go first, but I want you to really go first, right? So look at how he feints him right here, right? Great feints, steps on that front foot, and then transfers his weight to his back foot, steps on that front foot. And again, you guys, I want to talk about this technique again, right? Very, very, very important technique. Watch Kovalev's foot, right? Heel, right? I know he taps down on the ground first with his toe, right? But when he's stepping forward, he's ready to punch, he's stepping with his heel to transfer his weight, right? Very, very important that you get your heel down before you're ready to throw your right hand. But again, Kovalev coming forward, and watch him feint, right? Feint, and gets Alvarez out of position, feinting, and figuring out what he's going to do to get away from that right hand. And again, Alvarez knows the right hand is coming, and this is exactly how Yarde responds to the jab feints as well, right? And the way that he gets away from the right hand is by ducking under it, right? Not slipping or transferring his weight. And we'll see later why that's a big problem. But again, Kovalev, very patient, feinting, shooting the jabs to the body. Feint again, feint, feint, and look at this, you guys. This is amazing, guys. Very, very, very high level stuff right here. He feints him, and when he shoots this jab, Now watch where his head is, right? All his weight is on his front leg, but he takes a step off the side, like a small step off the side, and look at how his head shuffles down as well, right? This is going to move him off the line if a shot comes from Alvarez, right? Like a right hand or another jab, right, from Alvarez. For his head here, right? Now if the jab comes straight out, Kovalev has already ducked and transferred his weight. Look at where his right hand is. That right hand is cocked for him to shoot that jab, slip a little bit to the right under the jab, and then shoot his own right hand over the top, right? So he's ready for that. And this is exactly the problem that Yarde is going to have, because Yarde looks to control the space with his jab. So he's going to be biting on this feint. When Kovalev feints him here, that jab is going to come out, because that's how Yarde understands how to control his opponent, is by using that lead hand. And then again, you have Kovalev feinting again. And what happens when Kovalev does miss a shot, right? He goes in for this shot, right? Boom, right? He closes the distance, you guys. He says, oh, I've been controlling him with the feints. He was able to see this punch coming, and now he layers his defense by controlling his opponent. Look at how bodied up he gets. Now Alvarez has no ability to transfer his weight to attack him. Even though Alvarez is technically in the better position, Kovalev looks to mitigate that position by, getting him in a headlock. You don't want to see that, but if I'm Kovalev, or I'm Kovalev's trainer, I'm telling Kovalev, yeah, man, put that guy in a headlock. DDT that motherfucker. Don't let him punch you in the face. Whatever you do, just don't let him punch you in the face, and don't get disqualified. Other than that, it's okay. But again, Kovalev coming out, lots of feints, you guys. Great feints, feint, and then beautiful timing, right? Feint, and then jab to the body. And Kovalev does a lot of really good things with his feints. As soon as we get to the clip, I'll show you guys. But again, double jab feint, never loses control of his right hand, and then shoots that right hand over. And again, this attack is very common for Kovalev, right? Get a look at him. And now he shoots the right hand, transfers his weight, and then he's looking to land this left hand here as he circles around Alvarez, right, to stay away from that right hand, right? Boom, boom, move away from the right hand. And then Alvarez tries to circle him too, stay in position. Kovalev again ties him up. Again, great feinting. Boom, landing the jab. If the right hand to the head isn't landing, or he's not able to get him into position, he's going to go with that body shot. This is one of the things I think he failed to do against Andre Ward in the second fight. I think he should have been throwing more body shots, right hands to the body, as Andre Ward liked to duck down under the jab as well. But go ahead and watch Kovalev's head here, right? As he steps forward, right? Front foot, back foot, front foot, back foot, front, back foot, right? Shuffling his head as well. And there's going to be, oh man, beautiful. Right hand feint. Hey, what do you think about that? And then controls him. And he's able to get information. Now again, this is very similar to what I think the Anthony Yarde fight is going to look like. I think it's going to be a lot of this stuff, a lot of Yarde looking to do the right thing and getting caught in the corner. But again, look at Kovalev and his beautiful, beautiful feinting. Boom. Bop, bop, bop. Hey, what do you think? What do you think? Shoots the right hand, shoots the jab, and then shuffles off to the side, right? So even if Yarde is looking to counter him and stop him from being able to set up his punches or punch in combination, Kovalev does a good job of not only feinting and controlling him before he attacks, but moving off the line, controlling him, and using defensive responsibility after he punches. Now, again, Kovalev very good with his probes, right? Shooting, shuffling forward, expecting a shot. Look at how he waits for the jab to come out from Alvarez, and Alvarez is like, man, I don't want to get hit by that right hand. So he just unloads on him and throws some punches. But look at how patient he is with these shots, right? Just waiting. Oh, is anything going to open up? Probe, probe. And now this is where you see like some really clever stuff from Kovalev here. Beautiful stuff, you guys. Oh, man, let's just watch this scene, okay? So coming forward. Now look at his head. He's fighting on the front foot, right? Slipping to the inside just a little. Just watch his head movement, right? Slip to the inside a little bit. What do you think? Right? Slip to the outside. What do you think? Right? And then times him with the jab, right? But looking to slip and shoot those shots at him, right? But this is these little tiny, even though he kind of gets touched a little bit, this little tiny head position or head slots allow him to be just a little bit tricky and throw his opponent's timing or rhythm off just a little bit, and he's still able to land punches at the same time. Now as he comes forward, right, watch his head here, right? Shuffle on the front foot, now on the back foot as he steps forward. Now this is beautiful. Shooting the jab. As he shoots the jab, he thinks maybe a counter is going to come. So boom. Now he's going to shuffle forward and roll and feint a right hand. Look at how he feints the right hand and controls him again. Again, how is somebody who's looking to counter him going to find an opening when he has so many little head movements, so many little tricks, like slight moves, boom, get away from that counter jab, right? Shooting the probing shot, rolling under the counter, coming in with another shot. His head is just never in the same spot. And this is beautiful, you guys. Shoots the jab. Now, if the right-hand counter comes, boom, ducks it, bodies up with him, controls him with the left arm, and then throws a right hand, you guys. Very technical striker, you guys. He's doing everything perfect every time, you guys. That's how difficult Kovalev is to fight. Because not only is he controlling you before he attacks, but he looks to control you every time after he attacks as well. Look at how Alvarez, if Alvarez wanted to come in with the right-hand counter right here, his weight transition is being blocked, he's being pushed off balance, and then walked into this right hand, even though the right hand doesn't land super cleanly. But again, beautiful shots, right? Great probing, 1-2-1. Again, I think that'll be a very effective shot for him against Yarde. Mainly the two. I actually think that the jab, the third jab, or the extra jab might be a liability because Yarde's punching again is so sharp and so tight, like crisp. But I think it'll be really effective. And again, Kovalev is just very difficult to fight. Again, landing those shots, controlling him, right? But just very good at feinting, and finding the open shot, you know, and then controlling him. You know, to be honest, just watching Kovalev is just, I don't know. He's one of my favorite fighters, you guys. He's just so good. But again, great feinting, great ability to transfer his weight, and great moving off the line after he lands those shots, right? Boom, right hand, shuffles his weight and comes out at an angle, and his opponent has to readjust. And look after he lands that shot when he gets back on the line, right? Boom, head movement. Again, remember that slight head movement? Ducks that shot, sees that next jab shot coming, and slips his opponent's jab perfectly. You know, Kovalev is just such a complete fighter. He's just so good. And look at this beautiful work here, right? Feinting, gets him out of position, throws a left hook, his opponent rolls it. He gets his shoulder turned, all his weight on his back foot, and in order to prevent the counters, he tries to body up with him, and then as Eleider Alvarez moves back, he controls him with the jab. Just a beautiful sequence of boxing, you guys, just doing everything correct, just everything, you guys. Kovalev just does everything right. And again, right, knowing that the right-hand counter might come under, getting under that shot, a little bit of noogie action, right, put him in a little headlock right there, hey, bro, boom, 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 you know. You don't want to see that too much. But again, Kovalev is very hard to counterpunch against. Not only is it difficult to know when he's going to attack because he's so busy putting you out of position, but finding an opportunity in which he's not controlling you, right? He's not putting his weight on you after he throws a shot, right? After he throws a shot where you're open, right? When do you find an opportunity when he's not moving off the line, he's not controlling you, and he's not putting his weight on you to counterpunch him? I don't know. You just gotta be in Kovalev's head. You gotta know when he's gonna punch. You gotta know when it's gonna be a feint, and you just gotta know. You gotta know before Kovalev knows. And unfortunately, I don't think Yarde is gonna know that, and I'm picking Kovalev by knockout. Now again, Yarde has that kind of, you know, that little it factor with the rotation on his shots. Very, very short shots. He turns his shots over really well. Pretty good power. But it's the sharpness that's going to be more of a problem for Kovalev, if it's a problem at all. But I'm picking Kovalev by knockout. I don't know how long Yarde will last, because I don't know what kind of, I've never seen him in trouble or anything. I haven't seen too many of his fights. I don't know a lot about him. But I'm definitely picking Yarde, or definitely picking Kovalev by knockout. We'll go 5 rounds, you know. It might be like 8, but I'm going to go 5. Might even be 2. Who knows, you know? He might just blow him out of the water. Especially if he looks to shuffle forward like that against Kovalev. Kovalev will knock that boy out. He'll be like, what are you doing, man? What are you thinking? But anyway, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, don't forget to check out Fouts Boxing. I should have more articles up in a couple days. Probably by Saturday, I have a training to learn how to do that stuff. But anyway, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Check out Fouts Boxing. And let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Do you guys think that Yarde has a better chance to win this fight than anyone else? I haven't seen the odds, you know. But maybe if Kovalev's lost enough clout, that he's not that much of a favorite. So I don't know. But I would never bet against Kovalev, to be honest. I don't even know if I would bet against him to lose against Canelo, you know. But anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and all that jazz. Thanks, guys.